OWASP, OWASP, and OWASP. So it's about time I do it again. It's about time that I talk about the OWASP top 10, 2021 a bit deeper than I did before. So there's a reason that I waited, and the reason for that is that I really wanted to see if they made any changes. I didn't think they would, but who knows. Now that this is landed, it's been here for about, I don't know, what is it now, March, so it's about like 4 5 months, something like that. I don't exactly remember when they released this, but it was last year, of course. But anyways, let's just quickly look at this drawing one more time. There we go, and let's go ahead and check out this here. So we have the old OWASP here, 2017, and the new one, 2021, and we can see what's been, shifted and, combined and all that good stuff. I don't really have much to say about the new list because I feel like that, the new list is basically the old list, just some new words and some categories that already was more, natural to do. So let's talk about the different kind of groups here, and then briefly I'm gonna try and find some examples for you guys so you can understand what this is all about. So let's go back to the original one here and zoom in a bit. So the very, very first one here called broken access control, and that is actually kind of worrying that it is number one, because if you look at the old one, it was kind of down to the 5th place, and now it's the 1st place. Like, whoa, what happened? And I would like to say that what was on the top before, injection, broken authentication, sensitive data exposure, XML, XSE, they more or less all of them went down. So the way you're gonna understand this is that broken access control didn't really get bigger. It's not like that, It's not like you go from 2020 to 2021 to 2022 and then all of a sudden no one can do access control. It's like, no. It is just like that, it took its place because the others got less serious, alright? And then we have something like, cryptographic failure and stuff like that, which is sensitive data exposure. They changed the name and stuff like that. But let's stick to broken access control again one more time. I think this time they did a really good job, I guess, in some of the short descriptions, but you have to click on it actually to see the 34 common weakness in operations. And I did create a video about this where I clicked on it, and you should really go and look at my channel for that video as well, because they do meld together in a way. If you see the old OWASP top 10 2021 first and watch this newest version afterwards. So broken access control is for example when you can access something that you shouldn't be able to access, and that is just very interesting, because why can we not, as developers, why can people not secure their areas, access on an application? Why cannot do that? I know this is for web, OWASP, Open Web Application, Security Project Web Application, right? It stands right there. But it could just be top 10 security risks. Oops, I think I clicked it. Yeah, I would like to say that I think this is a general big problem. We're gonna see more to this in the coming years, because people are gonna look at this list saying, look, look, look. If so many people have trouble with broken access control, but wait for it. Maybe they didn't search for broken access control in the same way as they're doing now, because before it was on the 5th place and now it's on the 1st place. So many people are gonna think, so we got worse. We are worse doing this. We are not as good as before. We became more bad. It's like, what? So we might see a increased attack rate for whatever these big websites and corporations do tend to, release as the top 10. Broken access control is a very interesting thing. It's very serious, and I think what you should definitely do is go and watch my video about, access control, where I talk about Bill, Lepidula, and Biba, and I think I also touch upon the Mac and the DAC. You should definitely go and watch the video. Also, there are mentions of it in if you follow links and read, because what you really need to do is follow the links and read some articles and stuff like that, and you're gonna get a really good overview of what to do. So next one is called Cryptographic Failures, and this is one that shifted up to position 2. It was known as sensitive data exposure, and what they really want to say is like sensitive data exposure was more like the symptom. Yeah, it was. But the actual cause for that, what is the root cause for sensitive data exposure? Well, in many cases, that is weak cryptographic algorithms. People choose bad hashing algorithms. People choose bad encryption keys. People choose bad encryption algorithms. There are many different ways you can do wrong, but there are also many different ways you can do right or even better. And there is of course something that is best, and to find that, you really need to dig into the material, because security is not something you just take light upon and just go like, okay, so I can copy paste a few lines of code, I can do prepared statements, and I've seen that so many times, and I am getting really annoyed with the fact that some developers think that is what security is. It's like just like you have a 5-page something you follow, and then, well, no. If you're only doing SQL queries, that is the only thing you code all day long, I give it to you. Then prepared statements is your thing. But no one does that, so please don't be that developer. Alright, so next one here is called injection, and it's been combined, as we can see. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but it's all kind of injections now. And I also think that the old OWASP, where we had like cross-site scripting as a thing and SQL injection as another thing, was like, but it's both injection types. You inject different things, get different results, and why is cross-site scripting not injecting? Why? It is injecting. So seriously, I have been saying this for very, very long time, in years actually. So yeah, injection covers many different things now, and there are many kind of injections. You should definitely click the link and verify. So until now, the 3 here is something we already knew from the old one. We have a new name, but yeah, insecure design is a new category, sure, with focus on risk-related design flaws. If we generally want to move left as an industry, it calls for more use of threat modeling, secure design patterns and principles, and reference architectures. Yeah, so insecure design, it's a very tough one for me to carry and talk about, because I've been a teacher for more than 10 years, and I strongly disagree with the way that the educational organizations, whatever you want to call them, the schools, fancy reputation more than actually quality. I know reputation is money at some point, but quality can be better in the end. I strongly disagree with that. It's more important for students to learn how to create a game. I would call creating games as an interest thing. Knowing about security for me is an essential thing. And I'm gonna keep it to myself and say for me, because I know someone is gonna disagree. There are people that disagrees already, but I feel, I know for myself, and it's my goal to make sure that I did my best to raise the curtain for the fact that security is the fundamentals of everything basically in these days, because we need to make sure that everyone uses computers, everyone open an email, everyone, click a link. If you're a carpenter, you're working with pipes or whatever you're doing, you are a secretary, you're using computer, you're clicking links, you're reading emails, using the internet, you're vulnerable, you're insecurity to the company. You need to know what you do. I'm not saying that everyone should learn about secure programming, and definitely not everyone should not learn about OWASP or anything, or OSCP preparation stuff. No, not at all. It's just like everyone should know what is for them enough, the essentials to do their job. And then everything after that is private and doesn't really matter that much, but honestly it does, because then we're going back to the idea of a botnet, and this is going to be a separate video where I talk about botnets. It's going to be created soon by me for you guys. But if you're not verifying your own security at home, you're not really, secure at home. You can be a part, you could be infected with stuff, because you are clicking and opening stuff and don't really care, and it's just me at home. Yeah, I'm going out of the limb now, but I just feel it's so important to share and to inform. And yeah, insecure design is going back to that. It was a spark from insecure design. I just went on a limb here. All educations and everyone should know about how to create great code, how to manage your stuff. Using design patterns is not just about the design. Using a great design pattern is also creating, compartmentalization stuff. You can do separation of concerns, you can do least privilege, you can easier do defense in depth. There's so many things. Also, when some say design patterns, they're saying, so I do like a factory pattern, a singleton. Well, yeah, but everything is combined in a way. It's not like you cannot say one thing, I use the factory pattern. It's like, good for you. I don't really care. But it's... Yeah, I hope you really get this, because it's a thing that is really, really important to me. It's like, design your stuff properly. Security misconfiguration is the thing where this is basically what I do. If you watch my YouTube channel, I hack a lot of stuff. I do on Try Hack Me, but all those machines are made intentionally vulnerable. So they do security misconfiguration intentionally. And they're not even going to say this for fun, but so many people does it without even knowing they're doing misconfiguration. So let me talk about what this is all about. I know for a fact that many of the students that I had never had one single hour of security or server hardening when they were on one of the semesters where they did some cloud stuff. For a fact, they did not. I know that other schools I've worked for also did not do that. I know it's a thing. They just don't do it. And the reason for that is that the teachers are not good enough. They do not know, they don't care, or when I say not good enough, I'm not necessarily only pointing to their, skills, the level of skills, but I'm also pointing towards the understanding of what is important. Because sometimes it's like, oh, this is so flashy, we need to do this new program, and oh, it's so nice, it's so easy. Yeah, great. But did you forget security again? You did. Okay, so it doesn't really matter if it's fancy and flancy. If you're gonna get hacked, you can lose your job. The company's gonna go down, probably gonna lose millions. Things can go really wrong. You can lose all your data. You can get your stuff deleted. So many horrible things can happen, and then people focus on fancy stuff instead. Like, okay, I want to create this fancy, I want to use this program, this new language, and it's like, wow, but yeah. I'm getting a little mad because I when I read this document, I really see all the struggle that I'm trying to I'm fighting for on my job, on my past job, and yeah. Vulnerable and outdated components is, I would like to say that, to me, the two is kind of going together, security misconfiguration and vulnerable outdated components. It is a mischoice, it's not a misconfiguration, but I'm not saying that outdated components cannot be secure. I'm saying they can, but it's just raises the idea of you doing more work. Vulnerable basically means that you had some sort of buffer overflow exploit or something like that. It could be like that, or just a vulnerable protocol that's easier just to be patched. So in a way, this is what I do. A lot of on my channel is to exploit these bad choices in servers. That is what I do. So yeah, identification and authentication failures was previously known as broken authentication, and I would like to say that broken authentication is another thing that I fear we're gonna see more of these years, at least in Denmark, because we are changing to a new system that is, I guess it's a little difficult to explain if you're not from Denmark or the north, but we have something called NemID, which is translated to ECID, which is a two-factor authentication model that they implemented as a national thing we all have to use. So we have a piece of paper with some keys on that is unique, and get a new piece of paper here and there. But now they're changing that model to something easier to use, and I'm not really sure if I like that, because the new way is you're gonna use the username as the actual authentication. And many people is just gonna use something easy, and that is the problem. So they took away the actual step in the two-factor to be a slide on a phone. So you have to use your phone now and slide. And I'm not really sure that I like that. Conveniently, as a convenience thing, I agree. As a security thing, I'm not sure yet. I would like to see that, but I fear it's gonna be too easy to just ask people to slide, because it's an easy movement to do this sliding. So I think that is the actual problem. Alright, so software and data integrity failure is a new category for 2021, focusing on making assumptions related to software updates, critical data, pipelines, without verifying integrity. It's a big one, integrity, that is the word that we're gonna focus on here. if you know the CIA triad, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, those three, you know, security goals you can go for. It's really easy to talk about the three when you are in a company, because you can basically go ahead and say, how can we keep our confidentiality? You know, how can we do that? So it's a non-technical, easy to have a conversation about. When something is breaking integrity, it basically means that we can alter data, we can delete data, we can basically do anything to the data. When integrity is broken, the confidentiality is also broken. Because think about it this way: how can you not have access if you can delete the data? I'm just gonna ask that. And there are probably someone who's gonna say, but what if you have some leaked API where you can do something through a URL in the browser, but you're not really having access to the system directly, but not like you're logged in, but you can just send this message. Okay, so let me just say this way: defining confidentiality is when you can get through something that should not get through to, was meant for you, you're breaking it. And if you can then alter data, you're also breaking integrity. In order to be the one from the outside that's going to break integrity, you need to break confidentiality. If you're already inside, then confidentiality is not a thing for you anymore. Then the discussion is pointless. So I'm just saying that, you cannot have broken integrity without having broken confidentiality. I guess someone is going to disagree to some perspective, but I'm just saying what I see and what I really feel. Logging and monitoring, insufficient logging, and monitoring is the thing that I still hope people is going to be better at doing. When I say that, I mean, of course, better as doing sufficient, not if inefficient, but sufficient enough. You can also do too much. So that's why I use the word sufficient, because if you do excessive logging and monitoring, you might have too much. It's going to be difficult for you, not impossible, but it's going to be more difficult for you to find what went wrong, because you're doing excessive, maybe you're doing too much. So you start a server, you start a company, you have your machines. I must be honest that I see a lot of startups that totally ditch everything about security. They don't care a dime about it, because they do not have the time, they don't have the money, they need to sell, need to do canvas stuff and go and find customers. That is what the time is diverted to. But at some point, that company created or started a lot of code or systems or something, and everything is missing security, missing monitoring, missing logging. I would like to say that if you have a security flaw and you at least have monitoring and logging enabled, well, then there's a possibility for you to go back and find out what it was that compromised your system, and then you can close it. And that is actually not a bad history for me. It's not a bad story. It's like, yeah, I know, but maybe you should have invested a bit more time in creating a bit better access control model. But okay, you do have, you could pretty fast, because of your monitoring and your alarm saying, oh, something is wrong, and you're logging, you can find it pretty fast, shut it down, get the hackers out of your system. Okay, I get it, but I'm not saying we're home. We're not on the same page still, but we are definitely close on the book now. But my advice for you guys that are gonna do startups is try to do at least, logging and monitoring good, and try to do the easy stuff in code, like prepare statements, make sure you encode your stuff, make sure you verify the input, of whatever users is putting into your application. If you're doing that, 3 steps on logging, monitoring, you are really, all the script kiddies are gonna fail. Okay, so that is a big part of it. And the last one here is called server-side request forgery. It's added from the top 10 community survey. The data shows a relatively low incident rate with above average testing coverage, along with above average rating of exploits and impact potentials. So this category presents the scenario where the security community members are telling us this is important, even though it is not illustrated in the data at this time. I have a really hard time with this one. What they really say is this category represents the scenario where the security community members are telling us this is important, even though it's not illustrating the data at this time. So clearly what this says that the OWASP community organization do have some data, and they cannot see that server-side request forgery is a thing, but the community is telling it's a thing. So I think this deserves a click. So it is called SSRF flaws occurs whenever a web application is fetching remote resources without validating the user's supplier's URL. It allows attackers to it's a new word I've never seen before, to coerce I don't know what to say that. The application to send a crafted request to an unexpected destination, even when they're protected by a firewall, the appear another type of network access control list. As a modern web application provides end users with convenient features, fetching a URL becomes a common scenario. As a result, the incidence of SSRF is increasing. Also, the severity of SSRF is becoming higher due to cloud services and the complexity of architectures. So we have a lot of notes here. We got some attack scenarios. I guess I'm gonna give you one because I feel this is SSRF. It's a weird thing that I don't really. I think to give it another name. Okay, so you have scenario 1: port scan internal servers. That's reconnaissance or scanning. If the network architecture is unsegmented, attackers can map out internal networks and determine if ports are open or closed, and in turn servers from connection result or elapsed time to connect or reject SSRF payload connections. So what I see here is SSRF is about port scanning as well. I don't really know. Sensitive data exposure. That's the thing. That's the old 2017 thing. That's a thing. I guess you get why I think this is weird. Attacker can access local files such as or internal servers to gain sensitive information such as. Okay, but again, local file inclusion. If you can include something local file is a LFI. So I would like to say that, I'm not really sure this is the best name there is. I'm really sure this is the best name there is. Oops, did I click that? I did. I'd like to see a new name come. I don't really think this is the best. You probably get why I feel this is the wrong name. The wrong name, and with a passion, I think I once more, with drifting, did give you an example of my thoughts on the 2021 OWASP top 10. Without any doubt, I don't think it's more clear now to developers what the 2021 is all about. Was it more clear in the 2017? I would like to say yes, because it was more divided into real categories that had a purpose. When I say real categories, because you can basically read it and say like, oh, I see. We have to read this and say, oh, I need to click and read a lot to understand what it's all about. So I would like to see a new list in 2025, which is gonna be the year they probably, release the newest version. That is a bit more easy to read and understand. I'm just saying that, in order to get the masses to follow security, we really need to make it easy to understand. So basically, OWASP, you still have some job to do. Did a pretty good job so far. You did a really good job in 2021. Looking forward to 2025. Until next time, take care.